Special counsel Robert Mueller on Tuesday filed a prosecutor's sentencing memo on former Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. Now, Michael Flynn, of course, earlier had flipped on Donald Trump. Actually, basically at this time last year, it's been a year since he pleaded guilty. Now, normally a prosecutor, of course, would allow cooperation in return for a reduced sentence if you have information that is helpful to that investigation. Now, look, and how helpful that information is, of course, determines how much they will recommend when it comes to sentencing. So it was really interesting what happened when the Mueller team came out with their sentencing recommendations on Michael Flynn. So is it going to be one of those lock him up situations, right? I mean, look, he did lie to federal investigators. He talked about, he lied about his relationship with the Russian ambassador at the time. So, and he ironically, during the GOP convention, led the chant of lock her up about Hillary Clinton. So, is that what Mueller's going to say? Is he going to say lock him up, lock him up? Well, it turns out, no. After 19 interviews with Michael Flynn over the past year, the recommendation from Mueller, no jail time. None. So the official recommendation, of course, is like, we recommend no jail time, but you could give him probably 0 to 6 months. Max. Wow. Now that's actually a pretty big deal because the minimum that he could have faced anywhere, and I could, hopefully, look, this is according to federal sentencing guidelines for lying to law enforcement. He could face up to anywhere from 5 to 20 years. So it's pretty significant that Mueller said, you know what? No, we're not going to recommend any jail time to Michael Flynn. Why? It's because of how much he cooperated with this investigation. According to the memo, the defendant has assisted with several ongoing investigations, a criminal investigation that we have no details of. All we know is that it's a criminal investigation, it's ongoing. That's why it was redacted in the report. Now, the special counsel's office investigation concerning any links or coordination between the Russian government and individuals associated with the campaign of President Donald J. Trump. So that's the other one. And then, of course, there is a third investigation that has been completely redacted. We don't even know the name. We don't even know what they're looking into. So that's 3 investigations that Michael Flynn has been helping the government with. Fascinating. So that really is interesting. Now, the defendant has also assisted with the SEO investigation concerning links or coordination, as I mentioned before, between the Russian government and individuals associated with the Trump campaign. And it's not just the campaign, of course, it's the transition. As Flynn was the guy who served both during the campaign and into the presidential transition. In fact, according to the memo, the defendant provided firsthand information about the content and context of interactions between the transition team and Russian government officials. So that's important as well. Now, for example, after the election, the defendant communicated with the Russian ambassador to the United States, Sergei Kislyak, on 2 sensitive matters. A United Nations Security Council vote on a resolution calling for Israel to cease settlement of activities in Palestinian territory. Now, look, I think Israel should cease settlement of activities, or I'm sure, they should cease settlement activities in Palestinian territory. I think they should cede it. They should stop doing that. Because what you're doing is just you're basically inflaming tensions in Israel. So that's not a good thing. That's a terrible thing. The other thing that they talked about is the Obama administration's imposition of sanctions and other measures on Russia for interfering in the 2016 elections. So the Obama administration put some sanctions on Russia. Obviously, sanctions are not popular. They're not in favor of sanctions. They're like, hey, no, let's talk about maybe Trump, and this is speculation, maybe Trump removing those sanctions. Okay, great. Now, several other members that are senior members of the transition team also publicly repeated false information conveyed to them by the defendant, Flynn, which could be, of course, Mike Pence. So Mike Pence is like, well, look, I didn't know Flynn was lying to me, right, about this communication. I had no idea. And so that's what the memo says. So now here's the thing that it tells me, right? So the collusion investigation, I think, is almost over. Because look at all the information that was freely shared in the memo, right? Yes, there was some redactions, of course, but they didn't read the most information that we got is about the collusion investigation, which I think it means they're getting ready to wrap that up. Now, what's more interesting is the other investigations that we don't have any information on that involve Michael Flynn, that Michael Flynn had knowledge of. Look, and on 4 different separate occasions, the special counsel asked the judge to allow them more time for Flynn to cooperate with federal investigators. That's interesting. So Flynn knows something big. That means they're onto something big. Now, is it related to Trump? It could very well be. I don't know for certain because what we have is not a lot of information. Okay? Still, Mueller's mandate from Rosenstein, when he appointed him special counsel, was fairly broad, which means he was able to look into links between Trump and Russia, and whether it be financial links or financial crimes or anything even sort of related, right? So this unnamed criminal investigation that Flynn helped the Mueller team with, that is really interesting. Because as I thought before, here comes Donald Trump's possible financial crimes. And those, I think, are actually far more interesting than Russian collusion, and actually could possibly even explain the possibility of Russian collusion. Because why would he collude with another country to try to become president? Well, look at financial ties. Look at the possibility. Look at the possible deal between Trump, Russia, when it comes to Trump Tower Moscow. And that possible deal that Donald Trump could make millions on. And when it comes to Donald Trump, you have to realize that Donald Trump is basically in it for himself. He's in it to make more money. So whatever deal you made, or possibly made, would have to deal with him making more money off of it. Oh yeah, if I'm going to make money out of this deal, that's going to be great. I'll do it. Do I have to, allow or assist in any possible way another country messing in the election so that I can become president, make more money? That's a possibility. So I'm not going to rule that out. Although I know there are people out there that are still skeptical, and this report hasn't really said that there are definitive, that there's anything definitive there, but they're also saying that there's nothing that discounts that as well. So that's an important perspective to look at. For me, I think there is financial ties, and I think, of course, that probably ties in to the possibility of collusion. So that's my perspective on that. So now, again, and there's another reason that Flynn was also let off very easy, and it's because of his decision to flip early. Now, why is that? Well, according to the memo, the defendant's decision to plead guilty and cooperate likely affected the decisions of related first-hand witnesses to be forthcoming with the SCO and cooperate. Now, what that means, of course, is that's Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's fixer, who I think likely has even more really good information on Donald Trump. It's all coming around to close in on Donald Trump. He's gotten almost everyone around him. Again, Michael Cohen, Michael Flynn, tried to get Paul Manafort. Manafort got the hammer dropped on him now. So some of the recent stories have the government basically taking away everything, like the mansion that Paul Manafort's wife was living in. So all that stuff that he got to keep and all the money gone. Now, why would Manafort do that? Why would Manafort basically go and work with, try to pretend to work with Mueller, but actually just feed information to Donald Trump's lawyers? I don't know. What is he afraid of? Why would he give up all that money and all that stuff from that deal and then face a huge possible prison sentence? And of course, losing all of that. So you just gotta wonder. It does make you wonder on that one. But again, I don't think this looks very good for Trump. It looks like he's gotten almost everyone around him to either flip and cooperate, or to get themselves into trouble as well. And they're closing in. Mueller is coming. So I think for me, it's only a matter of time. Tick tock, tick tock. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.